I grew up in an Italian family, and every year we'd have those big holiday meals together. And sometimes they were super weird. The thing is me and my siblings, like, we're polar opposites. We're so completely different. And sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but come every year, every Christmas and every Thanksgiving, we are all under the same roof. We are all sitting together at the same table, and we are all eating because that's what Mama wants and that's what Mama gets. And despite how crazy sometimes our family meals are together, it's so cool to look over at the head of the table and see the pride that my mom has as she sees her kids together, eating together in her house. It's just something about all of our kids being together under the same roof, because maybe we don't do that every year, but when we are there together, she is just so proud and so happy and just excited about the fact that we are with each other and her. My name's Andrew Davis. I work at a Methodist church. I go to school at a Presbyterian seminary. I grew up in a non-denominational church, and I have a Catholic mother. I love different denominations. I feel like the cool things about having different denominations in America and really all over the world is that we can appreciate different parts of God in different settings. Like, doesn't it feel like each denomination gets like something really right? Like, I love the passion that the Baptist church has for evangelism, because God has a passion for evangelism. I love in the non-denominational church the stress that they put on a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and with God the Father. Like, because God puts those stresses on those relationships too. And I love, now that I work at a Methodist church in the past year, I moved here and I'm really learning to respect and honor and be more reverent about the tradition and the worship service of God, that we worship a holy God, and that means something. I love denominations, but I hate denominationalism. Denominationalism, that's when you say how I worship is correct and how you worship is incorrect. My church does it right, but your church does it wrong. There's nothing wrong saying I love how my church does something, but when you say I love how my church does something because it's the opposite of what you do and what you do is wrong, that's when I think that's a problem. Denominationalism is a virus that's plagued the church for centuries. As a result of this virus, we've gotten to a point where people feel like they can't worship with each other. They both are God-fearing people, but they feel like if you go to a different church and I go to a different church, then we can't actually enter a building and worship the same God correctly. You love God and I love the same God, but we can't love them together. How does that make any sense? What do you think God thinks about that? Like, I'm sure he understands denominations. I'm sure he loves every Sunday when we're at our respective churches and we're worshiping him in one roof with like-minded people. He just loves the fact that we're together and that we're worshiping him and that he loves being with us. Like, I'm sure he appreciates denominations, and please don't hear me wrong, like, oh man, all denominations are bad, because that's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. But what do you think about the fact that when people feel like they can't worship God together because of different beliefs, that they can't worship our Heavenly Father? What do you think that makes God feel like? Do you think maybe it makes it feel like he's trying to have a family get together with his entire family and people won't come because they're like, well, if that sibling's coming, I'm not going to be there. Or I can't sit and enjoy time with my Heavenly Father because that other person there and we don't agree. Like, I think that might be disappointing. I think that might be hard. And I don't think that's right for us to only worship God in our own sections and not feel like we can come together collectively as God's family and be together with him as a whole. So I'm supposed to be telling you about this youth trip, this youth conference. It's called Unplugged. It's happening April 7th through 8th. I'm supposed to be like, it's happening April 7th through 8th, and it's happening at First United Methodist Church, and there's going to be a lot of fun, games, great speakers, a comedian. It's just going to be really cool. Like, I'm supposed to be all hyped up and telling you about that. The truth is this video is directed to youth directors, and I do want you to come to our conference, but the thing is you've been to conferences before. You've been to trips. You've taken your kids to places with great games and great speakers and great entertainment. And they've experienced God there too. Like, you know how awesome these things are. So that's not the selling point I want to sell you with. The thing I want to tell you about the vision of Unplugged is we want to be intentional with the Memphis and Covington area of opening up doors of our building and being like, let's all together come and worship God regardless of your denomination, regardless of your beliefs, regardless, like John 15:5 says, is where Jesus tells us, apart from me, you can do nothing. So if your church believes that you need Jesus, we're talking to you. And let's be honest, don't all churches believe that they need Jesus? Isn't that a thing that we all have in common? That we need Jesus and we worship God the Father? That is a big deal, and that's a very common factor. So if that's your church, we're inviting you regardless of your denomination. And we want different denominations. We actually want the more denominations, the better. We're inviting you to come worship with us in God's house, his church. And I don't want you to take this as me being like, I'm Andrew Davis and I'm inviting you to my church. I'm inviting your church to my church. Because the truth is it's not my church. And it's not your church. It's not even our church. It's God's church. It's God's family. And so what I really feel like I'm doing is on April 7th and 8th, I'm inviting you to a big family reunion where we all get to spend time with our Heavenly Father together. And I feel like if your kids come and they see tons of churches of different denominational backgrounds, of different beliefs, of some completely different people that they've never seen before, all together worshiping God, I feel like they'll be able to have a super powerful God experience because they'll get a little taste of what heaven will be like when we're all ultimately forever in God's presence together, which is a beautiful thing. So if you'd like more details about our trip called Unplugged happening April 7th and 8th, please talk to me. I'd love to get you and your youth group and people you know plugged into it because it's going to be awesome. Thank you for watching this.